Welcome to the Watchdog Report. First show of 2015. I'm Ed Ciffone, President of the United Taxpayers of Yorktown, and the Yorktown Watchdog. Thanks for watching. We're going back a year, and the first thing I want to do is say that my buddy, Nick DiTommaso, died on May 18th under unbelievable circumstances. His gallbladder exploded, poisoned his system, and took him months to die. But I'd just like to go back with me and Nick. We've been together a long time, a good friend. I was taking him to the different doctors to find out what was wrong with his stomach. Nobody found anything. We went to the emergency room in northern Westchester. Couldn't find anything. Went for Peekskill, Hudson Valley Hospital. He went in on a Monday. He had to take himself by ambulance there on a Friday. On Monday, they left the IV in his arm. So I get a call from his daughter that Nick is dying. We went there. And all I can say, folks, I know Nick a long time. True negligence. The man, I don't know why he didn't take his gallbladder out when he had a chance, months before when he was complaining. I don't know why they didn't find it all that time. But the end result was they took him out of Hudson Valley Hospital down in New York City, which they sustained him for a while. And then he had to go on dialysis, and he just wore out. And Nick, as long as I run this show, your picture will always be there, and you'll always be in my memory and my heart. So rest in peace. So let's go backwards a little bit in the year 2014. Now, yesterday was Wednesday, 2015, and I went to Albany to the inauguration in Albany of Terrence Murphy, who went from councilman to state senator of the 40th district in the last election. So it was nice. He had his family there. It was really good. And he was in his first session as a senator in the chambers for the senator. Up there, I did a tour, and I actually seen Sheldon Silver. And the first vote, this really gets me, the first vote was for him as the head of the assembly. They took a vote, all yeas and none a nay. There's Republicans there. What does that mean? What did that mean? It just finally seen. So I even asked if the guide if Sheldon Silver was going to be there. Okay. So why did they vote no? Okay. Then the next thing I was looking for, I seen Sandy Galiff there and a few other people from Westchester, but I didn't see Steve Katz, the assemblyman. Because I even went to his office, it was locked. I don't know why he didn't show up that day. But anyway, we have two people, Steve Katz, assembly from Yorktown, and Terrence Murphy from Yorktown as your state senator. So that's really good for the taxpayers. Now that's the good news, okay? He even had an inauguration in the Yorktown stage with the local people. Hundreds of people showed up. That was a nice ceremony also. So let's see what happens. So now, day before yesterday, Tuesday, there was a board meeting of the town board. So we had lined up 4 or 5, I think it was 4, UTY members. And we all talked about the same thing. There was a guy, Nick Wickowick, and his issues about 2 years ago, the Supreme Court came in his favor, said the zoning board made a mistake. The zoning board owned up to the mistake. They issued summonses to his neighbor. They told his neighbor to take down the building. My understanding, they voted on it. And the gazebo, nothing's happening. Grace says it's not his fault. He's not responsible for what's happening. But that's over 2 years for that man. Then we try to get courtesy of the floor twice. Now, they're now sitting. Supervisor Michael Grace, when he got in there, he let people speak twice for as long as they wanted. And that didn't work out because some people just talked for 20 minutes. Other people, we couldn't get up there to speak. So we want 2 courtesies of the floor, one at the beginning and one at the end. You don't know how many times I've stayed for 2 or 3 hours for that last courtesy of the floor. He sees me there and with Susan Siegel next to me. He says, we're not having courtesy of the floor. So Susan Siegel said that at the next work session, they will try, and there's 2-to-1 vote to get courtesy of the floor twice. So when I was up there, I was really angry because what happened was too, now, we went through the budget. Now, I know I'm repeating myself, but it was supposed to be on the 10th of December. I went on vacation, came home on the 10th. They changed it to the 11th, and then in the interim, they changed it to the 9th where I was away, and I couldn't say anything. So, instead of passing a .50 budget for 2015, it went to 3.6. So I was so angry. I didn't know what happened. I asked him what happened. Grace says, well, he put that budget in low as a cup of coffee. The Democrats pushed it. There was only one Democrat on that board. That was Vishnu Patel. And there was 2 Republicans, Terrence Murphy and Mr. Grace. So they can't tell me that they didn't, he said, what do you use? Compromise. We had a compromise. Yeah, he compromised the taxpayers. And listen, folks, this is the budget booklet, and what I said last night, they're projecting an estimate in 2016 of a tax rate hike of 9.17. Outrageous. What I brought it up, they wouldn't say a word. How they estimated this stuff. But 3.6 and 9.17, it's an awful lot of money for you folks and for me. And that's without the police contract, because the police contract is up this year. So anyway, I got up there, I said my thing. He said I was disrespectful. The man lies through his teeth. Here's another one, the Hudson Sports Club. It's an area of land that had all these buildings on it. So they said we're going to save money by having Eric DiBartolo, at the time, a highway superintendent, to take down the buildings. I even have a picture of Grace in one of the bulldozers, okay? They take it down. What happens next? Vishnu Patel goes there, and he calls the DEC and the DEP, and they find out that it's contaminated. And they're in violation. I have the violation in my hand. I go to the town board. It says, listen, you're in violation. What does this mean to the taxpayer? Well, what's going to happen? No answer. He says, we're not in violation. There's no fines or anything like that. Okay. What happens now? Dave Paganelli takes over. I think it cost $125,000 for Eric to do it. Now we got a price of somewhere near $40,000, $42,000 to clean up the mess. And it's going to be even more than that. And these both times took the employees out of the highway department to do this instead of having an outside firm do it in the beginning, which would have cleaned up everything. We would have had no problem. So it's an ongoing cost to the taxpayer, and we don't know how it's going to end up. Another one was the Trump Park building. I congratulated him that he finally, the owner took it down because of the agreement. And he was, Michael Grace, the supervisors, were against taking it down until I thought they sued him, or they challenged that they were going to sue him, the people who live there. And he made a statement, well, if you put a gazebo up, you'll have drug addicts there. So anyway, folks, that's down. Then you also have granite knolls. You know, this is going to be really something. There's an old building that was up there since they got it 4 or 5 years ago, and they finally got a bid to take it down. So that's good. So they're going to take the building down. When that's going to happen, I don't know. Next one was Sultana Pool. We're paying as taxpayers for those people who swim in the pool. Now it got too expensive for those people who swim in the pool and not to pay taxes. So they want to give it back to the town. The town doesn't want to take it for all sorts of reasons. They don't want to fill it up. It's toxic baloney. So he was saying again, there's no way that we're going to take it over. It's going to cost more money to fill it in and all this other stuff. But again, he made a misstatement that if the town took it over, in 2 years that's parkland, they wouldn't have to pay county and school taxes on it. So when I said all these things at the end of the meeting, Susan Siegel kind of backed me up, saying we're paying taxes anyway. Now, with the dirt that they have from the Holland Sports Club, if it's good dirt and it has to be tested, they should take that dirt, instead of taking it somewhere, they should take it over to Sultana Pool and fill it in. Okay, that'll be another hassle. Another one I brought up, because these situations and these open space was brought up by the supervisor, Michael Grace. And I'm just repeating it to get it done. So now they have also Shallow Creek Golf Course, which is on Route 6 and Lee Boulevard. So somebody's going to take it over. I tried to get a new building attached to that because there's a restaurant there, and it's a golf course for the seniors to run it as income. So now this guy's going to take over at a very minimal cost over 10 years to establish the golf course and a restaurant there, okay? So I just got the agreement. I'm going through it. The town is going to get some revenue, but it's just like the stage. The town gets a minimum amount of revenue from the stage. It used to get nothing. It wasn't for Nick, who pushed it, and the UTY, the guy is paying something for renting out the stage, but also we pay for his electricity, his heat, and everything else. So folks, you got to understand that's what's going on at the last meeting, and let's see what happens. And like I said, Susan Siegel wants you everything, and let's hope there's some changes and hope Nick gets his problem resolved. But let's go back now, 2015. It's 2014. So at the meeting Tuesday night, they're supposed to vote on the sober home, but it wasn't, let's start with the sober home. So Vishnu Patel and Councilwoman Siegel say, what are you talking about? What are you reading? We don't have anything. So the supervisor's clerk goes up, makes copies, and gives it to the two Democrats. He worked this out. He wrote it. I think that's what he said about the sober home and all the things possible, and he was for it. And of course, the two other trustees said they're not voting on it. They just got this, and Michael Grace says, go along with the 11-page thing I got, and then we'll make a decision. So the end result was they didn't make a decision. He made a resolution. They didn't second it. It just died, okay, again. So, and they, in the same time, so that poor guy owns it. And you got to understand that Michael Grace threatened, I have it here somewhere, I'll bring it up later when I find it. Oh, here it is. Grace threatens the board, if they don't vote yes for the Soma home, that they're going to be sued. So Sue Siegel says she checked it out. She's covered by the insurance of the town. So he used coercion, threats for them to vote on it. So the end result was I left. They rescinded it, and we'll see what happens at the next board meeting or work session when they're going to do the vote. Now, the next thing was they wanted to vote on how to replace a trustee who leaves for any reason. So again, it wasn't on the agenda, and they were bringing it up. So Vishnu Patel, he wrote this thing, and he has it right on his desk, right in front of him, that he will not vote on anything unless he receives the information 24 hours in advance. You can't just put it on the desk when he's there to vote, okay? And he said that for all this stuff. So again, they didn't vote on the special election for the candidate. Now, I have here that the, if I can find it, again, let's see if I can find it right here. Yeah, they're arguing, well, the thing was, oh yeah, here it is. So the board members now say, remember, 2 Democrats, 1 Republican, Terrence Murphy left. Let us put on one, and you put on one. One for us and one for you. That's unbelievable. So Michael Grace now is sitting by himself with the 2 Democrats, says, no way, okay? And they had it, they offered this before Terrence Murphy left. So, folks, that didn't work out. So, since they didn't vote on how to replace a candidate, I don't know when that's going to happen, but they're talking about the first week in March. 1 seat for Nick Bianco. I remember Nick Bianco didn't tell anybody he was leaving. I had asked that question. I hear Nick Bianco's leaving. They said it's personal. We can't talk about it. The next day he leaves, and there's another opening on the board. Now, he has 1 year to go. Terrence Murphy just left now in January. He has 3 years to go. So I'm thinking that the Board of Elections has to figure out if they're going to go on a ballot, who you vote for 1 year, who you vote for 3 years, or I don't know what's going on. And remember, Michael Grace is up next year, and Susan Siegel loses her year on the board. If she wants to run for the 3-year term, I think she can run for the 3-year term that Terrence Murphy left. So it's a big mess, and I even said it at the board meeting Tuesday night. It's a toxic board where they can't get along, they can't agree to anything, and Michael Grace only wants to do what he wants to do. But while Susan Siegel, it was the first time that Michael Grace kept quiet or Sue Siegel was talking, because she's knowledgeable, and at a previous meeting, he's always got the gavel. Vishnu Patel took the gavel away from him. He said, no, I want to speak. So, folks, it's really bad. So here's some other stuff before this show only a half hour. We have a ton of stuff that's went on in 2014. So, you know about the sober home. That still ain't working. They still haven't decided what they're going to do. No matter what, I'm sure since they bought the property, those people will make sure they get their investment back or whatever they're going to do. All right. So, now, this is another thing that came out during 2014. All of a sudden, we have Common Core, instituted by the federal government over the local districts. You got to institute this or else. It's a mandate, okay? Many people, many teachers, without the influence of the teachers on this thing, it was by Bill Gates, by the federal government, by the Board of Education, New York State Education Department. So anyway, a lot of objections to it. Final result is we have it. They didn't rescind it, but the Board of Regents says they're not going to look at it for, I don't know, 8 years or something like that, till he straightened it out. On or in the election in November, Governor Cuomo put a $2 billion thing for technology, which was passed to coordinate with this Common Core. Because I think what happened with Bill Gates in his software business, that $2 million is going to go to him as pay to play. And pay to play means you'll give me money and you'll get paid off down the line. So just unbelievable. So that was another one. We had a lady here bringing up Common Core, and look, if it's against the Constitution, the federal government doesn't have the right to do it, and they do it. It's just like Obamacare. It's just like, the SAFE Act. The SAFE Act came out. Steve Katz and Greg Ball were against it, but it was passed overnight. The SAFE Act made the police terrorists by saying that they can't carry more ammunition than the law provides in this SAFE Act. Folks, it's just unbelievable how these governments are just in your life and it's killing it. And with mandates and stuff like that. By the way, the Governor Cuomo, he gave $250 to the parents of people who have children under 17 that made under, I think it was $300,000. Some people, taxpayers, seniors, and other taxpayers got money back because the town of Yorktown was under the cap, okay? Yorktown residents didn't get a nickel. We got to find out why. I think Lakeland got it. I think in the Mahopac districts and all that, they got something back. But Yorktown didn't get it. Okay, let's keep going. All right. So let's talk about Greg Ball. Greg Ball decides he wants to leave. He endorses Terrence Murphy. And then you don't see Greg Ball at the inauguration. You don't see Greg Ball during the campaign for Murphy. You don't see nothing. The Moreland Committee puts his name on there for maybe misuse of his funds. He decides to go to Texas. So I hope I made my statements again that I like Greg Ball. And if I was his father, I'd be really proud of him. I can't make a better compliment than that for him. Sorry to see him leave. And I hope Terrence Murphy picks up some of the projects that he had for the veterans and other things. So let's see what happens. Okay. Now you hear Granite Knolls. Now this is a 200-acre property. We're supposed to be taking down the building now after 3 years. They took it off the tax rolls. We bought it for 2.7. Had to pay 2 years in taxes. $3 million. So, who comes along? This Algonquin pipeline expansion. What they needed. So, what do they say? And they go to Michael Grace saying, look, if you give us that permission to put all our equipment on Granite Knolls, we will leave. Here's a misunderstanding now. Michael Grace said they're going to give them fields up there. That was totally wrong. I went to every one of those meetings, and the only reason why you want to extend this pipe on their property and not use our property, okay, was to make money. The bigger the pipe, the more gas you can put through it, the more money they'll make. At the safety of the taxpayers in those areas. This pigging station, in other words, a cleaning inspection station, would have been on Granite Knolls and would have been had permission by the town. People were getting an uproar, no way, blah, blah. What's going to happen? Federal government again can come in and say, listen, we said they could do it, and by eminent domain, they could take the property and use it. I know where it's at now, but this is the There's 3 stages to this thing. I think this is the first stage. Then the second stage is to make it bigger, longer, going through the towns. So, what is happening on that? Who knows? Don't be surprised when you go to sleep one day that there's this big pigging station on Granite Knolls on taxpayers' property that could cause serious injury to anyone that's on that ball field or anyone in the area. Folks, it's just so many things that happened in 2014. So listen, folks, remember at the dog park? For years, everybody needed a dog park. So the town supervisor says, and the board, all right, you can put this down there. Glenn something or other, I can't remember what name, I'll think about it in a minute. And it won't cost the taxpayers anything. They give them permission, the next thing I know, we know it's $20,000 to put a fence. Sylvan Glen, thank you, Dennis, is the property. They put a fence around it, and it cost the taxpayers $20,000. Right. Now, the people that are doing the dog park gives the town $2,000 towards that. I don't think he took that money. Just like when I talked Sultana Pool, they gave money to the town for the back taxes, and they refused to take it and said, we can only take it if you pay all the amount. Oh, it's crazy. So now we have a dog park, which is wonderful. You can take your dog down there, and I don't know what it's costing. I know who's cleaning it up, but the people said they would clean it up. Yeah, so I don't know who's fighting down there, but we'll see what happens with. Okay. Oh, so what's happening? You know, when you put these dogs together and you put these people together, they're arguing inside the dog park. So let's leave it at that. So now we got the next thing. How about Costco? Costco comes in three or four years ago, and they get gas stations approved. Now they want sewers. BJ's come in, and they get gas pumps. The local owners of the gas stations go crazy. They don't get any satisfaction. So, folks, how much time do we have left, Dennis? Okay, so let me just close up. These are some of the stories. There's a lot more. The guys in the police department have the dog sued the town for $24,000. Maybe I'll give you some more next time. But listen, I wish you all a very merry, happy New Year. Now, I don't know, I got to deal with things that keep going on, and I'll deal with them. And I want to thank you again for the people who voted for me when I ran for councilman, for the people who voted for me when I ran for the school board, and I want to thank you all for being concerned about me with your prayers. So let me say good night. And again, I want to thank Dennis Tate for being right with me all these years, taping the show. And Nick, again, rest in peace. And to all yous out there, we're still fighting for you. Watch the town board meetings, watch the school board meetings. We'll be there for you. Thank you for watching. Good night.